Shalom. Before I begin, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Bashem Chakodash. Double honor to my teachers, the head apostles, and elders of Great Millstone. Kazak Shalom to the hopeful elect. This is the brother Elias from the church here in Cleveland, Ohio. I brought this out back with another edifying lesson. I wanted to go into what happened in this earthquake in Indonesia and the strike in Lebanon. Literally a scripture for everything. This is Matthew 24 and verse 6. It says, and ye shall, start the top. Now we use this chapter a lot, and you have to understand the history in order to know the mystery. So when Yahweh was on the scene, the disciples wanted to know when the kingdom would be restored to Israel, because during this time, they were in the Roman captivity. And with Yahweh physically being on the scene, it only makes sense that to them, that the Lord is going to restore the kingdom to Israel. But certain things had to be done, and they didn't understand at the moment what he was talking about. So he gave them clues. And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. So proof again that Yahushua was a prophet when he was on the scene. Because pursuing 68 to roughly 70 AD, the siege would happen and the temple would be destroyed. But that third temple is being built right now. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? So again, they wanted to know when the end of this age, because the scriptures say the earth abideth forever, and what would be the period of time where the Israelites were on top. And how shall I answer to said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. So many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. I hate using that word Christ. It's Christos, and in the Hebrew, it's HaMashiach. Ha meaning Mashiach meaning anointed. So many people come in the stead of the Lord. A good example that we use within the body. The man Tazadok, who claimed he was the God-sent comforter, that's just one example of many. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So, it's 2026. Talk about the war between Russia and Ukraine, the proxy war, the stuff that's going on with Israel. These are different examples of those wars and rumors of wars. But the ultimate war is World War III. And we know, pursuing the 2nd Ezra 13, that during that particular war, Yahweh Shai and the heavenly host is going to come through via the chariots. So these are all different signs that are leading up to the end. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there should be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. So today we're going to go into an example of nation rising against nation and earthquakes. So real quick. It's August 14, 2026. At least 38 dead after Indonesia's magnitude 7.7 earthquake. At least 38 people unalive after the earthquake of that magnitude, and dozens of aftershock struck off eastern Indonesia on Saturday. It was another article, BBC starting to act funny. but the aftershock was a magnitude of 6.1. And it also mentioned in the article that when the shock waves or the seismic or seismic activity, however you want to pronounce it, is shallow, it has more effect, on the ground above, where the citizens and the people dwell. This is prophecy, but also this is judgment. We know that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua controls the issues of life and death. We know that pursuing Psalms, Isaiah 45, he controls good and evil. Same in Deuteronomy, same in Samuel. And, the quote that Psalms 9, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is known by the judgment which he executed. So these 38 people who lost their lives, it was sanctioned by the Heavenly Father. And it's also a sign because of the earthquake in Japan. And we can look up right now and see how many earthquakes there were. Indonesia, Hawaii, Indonesia, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands. It's the beautiful thing about the internet. USGS magnitude 2.5 plus earthquakes past days. Take some time and do your research on the Richter scale. Point being, going back to that precept, earthquakes in diverse places. Around the pandemic 2019 to 2020, there was a small earthquake in Northeast Ohio. Second Ezra 9:1, it says, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, as I told thee before. So these are tokens. And that's how we know that matters are established 2 or 3 witnesses. Because the same thing was told to Ezra when he talked with an angel, and the same thing was said to the disciples of Yahushua when he was on the scene and told them himself. Then shall thou understand that it's the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And this is why we bring out these articles and go to 2nd Ezra 9, go to Matthew 24, and the Gospels that link up with it, because we're excited about the return of Yahushua HaMashiach. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and upwards of the people in the world. So earthquakes, we just looked, seeing the different places where there have been earthquakes recently, and the magnitudes and the upwards of people in the world. We're seeing the world as an utter chaos. That's the talk of everybody. Even the jokes on social media talk about how it's the hardest time to be an adult. And we're seeing how people are starting to react to their governments. We're seeing the stages for the race wars being set. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even for the beginning. That's the whole essence of prophecy. Saying something before it happens and then proving it, with the precepts. That's something that the prophets have been doing and will be doing. Because we know once the will of the Lord happens, people get shook, man. So going back. Going back to the judgment in Lebanon, it says 7 unalive, including 3 children, in IDF strike in Lebanon. 9 people, including 3 children and 2 women, killed in Israeli strikes in Lebanon. Lebanese Prime Minister condemned the attack, saying these victims were not military targets. Again, wars and rumors of war. Sent the article to the chat as, what's the significance of the strike? Who are the opposing sides? Does this contribute to World War III? Guess they misunderstood the first question. The strike is significant by itself. When I call it the beginning of World War III, I did ask that. Who are the opposing sides? Israel, Hezbollah. Israel is conducting the strikes in southern Lebanon. Hezbollah is the Lebanese Shiite army organization that Israel says is targeted. Hezbollah is backed by Iran financially, militarily, and strategically. The Lebanese government is not the same thing as Hezbollah. In fact, Lebanon's government has been trying to establish state control over weapons and negotiate a framework with Israel. So this is the part I wanted to focus on. The broader alignment is roughly Israel and U.S. against Iran, Hezbollah, and other Iran-aligned groups. That's an oversimplification because each actor has his own objectives. So we're just going to focus on the quote-unquote oversimplification. This is wars and rumors of wars because blood is being shed, military tactics are being used, people are being unalived. So the Israel and the United States, plus the BRICS nations, which include Iran. Why is today's strike important? The particularly important part is the timing. There was a June 20th truce between Israel and Hezbollah, and the U.S. brokered framework subsequently tied Israeli withdrawal from the southern Lebanon to Hezbollah's disarmament. Hezbollah has rejected disarmament, while Israel says it won't fully withdraw until Hezbollah is disarmed. So today's attack isn't occurring during a normal Israel-Hezbollah war. It's occurring during a fragile ceasefire negotiation process. And this is how we know that this is who the world recognizes as so-called white man. That's how we know that spiritually he is the devil and that he is a truce breaker and a liar. We're seeing how he did with the so-called Native Americans. We keep going, and this is one of the deadliest episodes since that truce. 9 people unalive today, 7 killed in Ansar, including 3 children. Another strike. You can keep reading for yourself. Israeli strike, and it's still, so I forgot to read that part, creates a dangerous cycle. Strike to the retaliation, to Israel's retaliation, to a large response, to Iranian involvement, to U.S. involvement. So, the plagues are here and we're not turning back. And the last question, does this contribute to World War III? It increases the risk, but it's not World War III by itself. We understand that. But it contributes to the last war. A couple more precepts. Revelation 11 and 14 says the second world's past is the second world's war. You can read in Revelation 8 and 9 about the first and second world war. And behold, the third world cometh quickly. And we are watching the beginning stages. So this was written when John was on the island of Patmos. And now in 2026, we can see the beginning stages. So we know, tarry for it, because when it happens, you'll know for sure that this is the prophecy or the thing that Yahweh Shem Shah forewarned us of, roughly paraphrasing the book of Habakkuk. Second Ezra 16 and 14 says, "Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth." So, all the things that Yahweh Shem Shah intended to happen within their respective measures, that's just what it is. Whether it be famine, pestilence, war, we're not going back. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returning not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. So all the lamentation, mourning, and woe written within the scriptures, we're seeing it now. And the closer we get to the end, like the scriptures let us know, the worse things get. It has to get to a boiling point where the Lord said, okay, that's enough. Come out of her so you won't be partakers of her sins and any of these plagues. And it's going to get so bad to the point where Michael, the archangel, is going to stand up, where it says in Daniel 12:1, he's going to come through with more angels to deliver the elect, the Yahweh Shem Shah. And the host of heaven will also contribute to the already ongoing destruction. So it's a lot of crazy things on the horizon. Literally, realms are going to collide. And you're hearing this out of the mouth of babes. You're hearing this from the men on the highways and hedges, starting with Apostle Har on down. So, Lord willing, this is edifying. Call Halayim La Yahweh Bashim Shah Bashim Chahakadash. Double honor again to the head apostle, elders of Great Millstone. As a matter of fact, Salaki, I'm going to keep reading. Get more meat off that bone. The second Ezra 16 to 17, it says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? So this shows that Ezra understood the concept of regeneration and understood that if the Lord said something, he meant it. Verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. So this is that day that the scriptures talk about. So we can understand a little bit more why the scriptures say, woe to them that desire the day of the Lord, for it is darkness and gloominess. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent for scourges as a mimic. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So all the evils that have come upon the earth are for reproof. But also, again, going back to that second Ezra 9 in Matthew 24, these are signs that the Lord's returning. So now, we close up again, all praise and glory to Yahweh Shem Shah. Again, double honors to my teachers, the head apostle, elders of Great Millstone. Kazak Shalom to the hopeful elect.